mainly we will see how the capacitor works and the experimental basis, like a visual lab. I create a visual lab here. So through that, I will try to explain what are the things. If you connect in series, what happens? If you connect in parallel, what happens? How much energy will be stored? All those things I will make it in a visual lab. So I'm using, can you able to see the screen properly? I'll open this. Look at
Yes,
this.
sir.
Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One. Any one is enough. Yeah. I have an arrangement here. You can see I have taken the two plates, the parallel plates, which is having the area as I can increase and decrease the area. So I will keep it just now with an 100 mm square. The area of this plates is 100 mm square, 100 millimeter square, and the distance between these two plates is 10 mm. The distance between these two places is 10 mm. Now I won't connect this into an battery. Just I will I will charge these plates. That means by methods, like a different methods, I will charge these plates. So you, by rubbing or induction method, I will start charging it. So suppose let me that upper one, I will charge with positive first. Okay, I'm not going to rub here, just I'm going to increase it. This is like a visual lab. Okay, so we are already, it's all the things are written here, only I'm performing it. So what I do is I will increase by taking this button upside. I will increase the positive charge in the upper plate. You can see now it is at 0. Now when I start taking this at upside, you can see here the red color is a positive. It became, this plate became positive. When this plate became positive, automatically the second plate will also become negative because it is due to induction. So this is, I start increasing it. When I start increasing it, let us see what is there in between. In between you can see the electric field lines. So I'll show you that electric field lines. There are, in between you can see the electric field lines, which is arranged in this manner. I'll little decrease it. Yeah, you can see the electric field lines which are going from positive to negative. Now I can measure the electric field which is between there. I have taken an electric field detector. It is there in our lab also, electric field detector. So once you come to school, I can show you these things in the lab. So I have a capacitor also. I have a how to measure the capacitance of a capacitor. I have an instrument, and we have an instrument to measure the electric field also. Here, this is an instrument where if I keep this inside the between the two capacitor, it will measure the electric field. You can see here it is showing the electric field that is showing that 238 volt per meter. It is showing that 238 volt per meter, that is the electric field between this, and it is going, it's also showing the direction. It is going from positive to negative. Now let me measure the voltage also. How much voltage, that also I can measure. Now look at one more very important thing. I didn't connect any battery. Without connecting battery, the voltage is developing and the electric field is developing. When there is an electric field, obviously there will be a potential difference. So I'll take the voltmeter. This is a multimeter which can measure the voltage also. This acts as an voltmeter also. I connected positive, red is positive, I connected to the positive plate, and black one is for negative, I connected here. You can see the voltage. Can you see that? How much it is? Can anyone read this?
2.377.
2.377 volt. The voltage between these two plates is 2.37 volt. The electric field is 238. Okay. Now let me see the capacitance. So obviously when there is a charge and voltage, the capacitance will be there. The capacitance is given here. You can see that capacitance developed is 0.89 into 10 to the power of minus 13 farad. That much of capacitance is developed. I'm not connecting to any potential difference. Now So I will remove all these things. Now what I do, I will make this 0. Now I will connect a battery to it. Now I'm not charging by any other methods these plates. I will remove all the charge, I will make it neutral. Now I will connect it to a external battery. External battery means now I'm not charging them, but I'm supplying potential difference to them. When I'm creating potential difference to them, obviously the charge will develop on the plates. So look at that. I'm I'm supplying the potential difference slowly. Look at, when I start increasing the potential difference, you know it, from negative terminal of this battery, the electrons will start flowing it. That means this plate becomes negative and this plate becomes positive. All right. Now we can measure same way. You take the voltmeter and measure it. You will have the voltage of 1.064, and if you take the electric field detector, that is showing that 106 volt per meter, and even the capacitance you can measure it here, that is 0.89 into 10 to the power of minus 13 farad. Did it change from the previous value? Did it change from the previous value? Previous value was also same. Can you tell me what is the reason for it? You should be able to state the reason why the capacitance didn't change here. Tell me why it didn't change. Yeah, answer. Are you able to hear me? Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you answer me. Why it is not changing? Capacitance is not changing. I changed the voltage and the charge also changed, but still the capacitance remains constant. Why? What is the reason for it?
Capacitance does not depend on any voltage or current.
Voltage or charge. It doesn't depend upon voltage or charge on a capacitor. It only depends upon the dimension. Look at now, the capacitance value will change. I will change the dimension. Dimension means the D and the A. I will change it now. Look at now, the capacitance value is changing. Can you see that? Now it becomes 1.77 into 10 to the power of minus 13, because the capacitance is directly proportional to what? Or inverse proportional to what? You got an expression. Epsilon naught. What is an expression for capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor? Can you tell me what is an expression of parallel plate capacitor? Quick, quick, quick. You have to remember these expressions. Nobody. You have to interact.
Epsilon naught A by 2.
Epsilon naught A by
A by 2.
So when I decrease this value, look at the capacitance value. What is happening? When I decrease, the capacitance value is increasing. When I increase the D value, it is decreasing. And here also, you take the surface area of the plates. According to that, it is changing. That means the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor depends upon only three things. That is the distance between the plates, surface area of the plates, and also the medium between the plates. Now, right now, I am not changing the medium. I'll come back in the next session. We will change the medium. We'll keep some other medium, that is called dielectrics. We'll keep some other medium and we'll check the capacitance. So capacitance depends upon the three things. So its dimension. Dimension means distance between the plates and area of the plates and the medium between the plates. Okay, that is one thing to show here. And also you can see the charge on plates, you can see the energy stored. Energy stored also you can measure it. You can just, by changing the dimensions, you can see what happens to the energy, what happens to the all those things. You can check it out. So this website is PHET simulations. If you have a laptop, you can do by yourself many things. check it by yourself. Go to Google, just PhD simulations, go to physics session, and you yourself explore these things. And I'll go for this one more very important. It is the multiple capacitors. That means the combination, capacitors in combination. So I'll take first two in series. I'll connect two capacitors in series. This is a series connection. Now first I connected, I will take, that is 1 into 10 to the power of minus 13 farad, 1 into 10 to the power of minus 13 farad. Both are having 1 into 10 to the power of minus 13, 1 into 10 to the power of minus 13. Now I will give them little voltage. Let's apply voltage, and now let me measure the voltage between the plates. What happens to the voltage between the plates? Different capacitors will discuss this. Voltage will change. Look at it, is 0.35, and other one will also have a 0.35. The reason is both are having the same capacitance. Let me change this capacitance. Little I changed it. Now the voltage between these two plates is different, 0.291, and this one is 0.408. So 0.408 plus 0.291. So that much voltage I am supplying here. The total voltage which I am supplying here is 0.699. So that will divide in both the capacitors. So one capacitor is going with 0.408, another one is 0.209, 0.219. So all these things, and also now the same thing, you connect three in series, different things will have, and you can check out the energy stored in the combination, and also stored charges stored in the each capacitor. In this combination, charges will be same, and you can now take two in parallel and check out what happens. If I take two in parallel, I will measure the voltage across this capacitor. You can see there is 0.699. Across this also it will be 0.69, because they are in parallelly. They connected in parallel now. Once they connected in parallel, so the voltage across them will be constant. So this is the one thing to understand. And also you have different combinations. This is like these two are in series, and C1 and C2 are in series, but they are parallel to C3. So what happens when you are not able to understand the numericals? This kind of simulation will help you to understand, because you will get to know here what is happening. So here what is happening easily you can get to know, because I can know I'm supplying 0.699 voltage. Now this 2 will have 0.699. Across this also 0.699. Voltage across this also 0.699. But voltage between these two changes. You can do that. 0.35. And voltage between this also 0.35. When you add 0.35 and 0.35, you will get approximately 0.7, which is approximately equal to 0.699. All right. So that is the thing which you need to do it. I'm asking you, just go through PhD simulations and explore these kind of things. When you explore these kind of things, you will understand more problems. Okay. So having done this, we will just take. So I have one numerical here, so related to the combination itself and energy stored, both. So you can try it out now in your book and tell me the answer. Try out. Can you able to hear me, Abhinav?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Try out this. quickly. Simple one. All the capacitors are having 2 mu f capacitance. And look at which are connected in series, which are connected in parallel, and first calculate the equivalent capacitance between A and B. I'll ask you, any one of you.
6/7.
6 by 7 is the equivalent capacitance. Very good. You can also calculate what is the energy stored and the charge drawn from the 7-volt battery if you connect 7-volt battery to this combination. Charge you find out and also energy stored in the network. Rest of them also have to do it. Try. You have to get the answer. These are the simple question.
So you remove that question.
What? Yeah. If a DC source of 7-volt is connected across AB, how much charge is drawn from the source? Yeah, those who are not getting this, just I'll tell you. So look at here, C2, C3 and C4. These are connected parallelly. C2, C3 and C4 are connected parallelly. So once they are connected parallelly, then you can get out their combination. So that is, let me name that as C23 is the equivalent capacitance of these three. So that is C2 plus C3 plus C4. You know that parallel combination CP is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. So you got it. That is 2
Yes.
2 plus 2 is 6 mu f. And now this circuit will change into this combination, this one.
Sir,
Yeah.
the energy stored will be 21 joule.
Yeah, 21 joule, no. 21 is correct, but unit you have missed it. 21, how much? Value is 21 is not wrong. You should tell something. You have missed the 10 to the power of minus 6. Check it out. Now, this combination will change in this manner. This is C1 and now this combination I calculated C2, C3, C4, that becomes C2, 3, 4 and another one is C5. Now these are connected now in series. C1, C2, 3, 4 and C5 are connected in series. Now calculate the series, means you know that 1 by CS is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C234 plus 1 by C5. I'm not finding any shortcut here. There are some shortcuts to find out. So I'm not doing it because board exam you have to follow all the steps. If you're in a competitive exam, that is different. So there you can find out the shortcuts and you can get it. So now you get it as 7 by 6 mu f and CS will be 6 by 7 mu f. So that is the equivalent capacitance. Those who didn't get, try it out again. So now you have to calculate the another bit of it. It is talking about the charge on how much charge it will drawn from the capacitor. That is very simple. Charge drawn from this combination. So that you can just say that is what I calculated, it is CS, that is the equivalent capacitance I named it, or you can add a C equivalent, this you change it as C equivalent into voltage. Voltage is already given 7 volt. So the total combination is connected to 7 volt. So you calculate the total capacitance and total charge is nothing but CV. So 6 by 7 into 7 volt. So that will give you 6 mu C. 6 mu C is the charge on this combination. Energy is again simple. Energy stored will be U is equal to Q square by 2 C equivalent. You calculate Q square, then substitute what is C, you will get the value. So you will get the value as 21 mu J. Someone told me only 21 joules. So you might have missed the mu. So that is very important. If you miss that,
Yes, sir.
you are missing 1 by 6, you will be 100% wrong. Okay. Now, before going to the next numerical, I have to take one more very important concept, that is redistribution of charges. Okay. So for this it is simple. We have a two capacitor, so which are having charge Q1 and Q2. Already they are charged and they have a capacitance C1 and C2 and also charge Q1 and Q2 and also potential difference V1 and V2. So they are having, so look at this, I have a two capacitors or conductors which is having capacitance C1 and voltage V1 and charge on them Q1. So and another one is that I'm having capacitance C2, potential difference V2 and charge is Q2. Now what I am doing is I'm connecting them with some connecting wire. I'm connecting these two conductors by a connecting wire. So what happens in this case, when you join them by a conducting wire, charge starts flowing it. Obviously, one I'm taking that Q1 and Q2, any one will be greater. So in that case, what happens? The charge starts flowing from higher potential to lower potential. Until when it flows, both V1 will be equal to V2. Until that process it grows. That means until their potential becomes equal, the charge starts flowing from one conductor to another conductor. That means now the charge is redistributed, but the total charge remains constant because conservation of charge. The total charge is Q1, Q2, that remains constant, but the charge is distributing. Here, when you connect with the conductor, no longer it is having Q1, it will maybe having Q1 dash. This will have a Q2 dash. This is after connecting. When you have after connecting, their potential also changes. Until their potential becomes equal, the charges will start flowing it. Once the potential becomes equal, then the charge will not flow, because charge always flows from higher potential to lower potential. When there is a charge potential difference between the conductor, then only it flows. Once it becomes equal, the charges will not flow. Right? Now, let us see what is the expression to find out that common potential. I want to find out now what is the common potential between these plates. Did you understand this one? Is there any doubt now? What is the redistribution? What I am talking here? I have considered A and B conductor. I connect them with a conducting wire, and initially they have a capacitance C1, V1 and Q1. Capacitance C1, potential V1 and Q1. This is having C2, V2, Q2. When I connect them with a conducting wire, charges will start flowing it from higher potential to lower potential. These charges will flow until the potential becomes equal. Once the potential becomes equal, charges will not flow. Now the charges are redistributed. So suppose for example, initially the conductor one is having 100 coulomb charge. This is having 200 coulomb charge. Obviously this is at lower potential, this is at higher potential, because it depends upon, you know that Q is directly proportional to V. So now V2 is greater than V1. Now charges starts flowing from conductor 2 to conductor 1. Now after few seconds, this will become potential. Both conductors will have the same potential. Capacitance will change into 100C sorry, 150C into 150C, or it may change into different manner. So, but total charge will redistribute. Okay, this is the thing what I am talking about. Okay, now if you have any doubt, you can ask me. This concept is very important. If you don't have, I will go through the next derivation of it. Derivation is not that big one. I have a common potential. I have to find out the common potential now. Once I connected, the potential will become equal because charges will flow through that conducting wire and charges will redistribute and both the conductors will have the same potential. I have to find out that now. The total charge, how can you write total charge? Total charge is nothing but Q1 plus Q2. Total capacitance is just C1 plus C2. Right? Now, what is Q1? Q1 can be written as V1, C1 V1 and Q2 can be written as C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. This is an expression for common potential. If you know the capacitance, how it was initially. Initially, it was having C1 and potential was V1. This one having C2 and V2. So when you connected them, using this formula, you can find out what will be their common potential. So potential is nothing but charge by capacitance. Total charge by total capacitance, I got it. Q1 is nothing but C1 V1. Q2 is nothing but C2 V2. I just substituted and I got the common potential. Right? Now, after redistribution of charges on A and B, I told you the charge will be Q1 dash and Q2 dash. Now I want to get an expression for Q1 dash and Q2 dash. Can you tell me what will be the expression for Q1 dash and Q2 dash? So common potential expression we got it as C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. Now what happens to what I'm asking you, what will be the Q1 dash and what will be the Q2 dash? That means the charge is redistributed and they have different charges now. Can you tell me what is the charge? Q1 dash will be what? Anyway, capacitance will not change. Capacitance remain as it is. Whatever the charge on the capacitor may change, but potential may change, but the capacitance will not change. That is C1 into. Now what is the potential between them? Now they have a common potential. That is nothing but a V. And C1 V1 is nothing but Q1 dash. Similarly, Q2 dash is nothing but C2 V because they have the same potential now. Until that, the charges will flow from one conductor to other conductor. You got this expression for the new charges. Okay. Any doubt? Okay, I have one question. If you don't have a doubt, then I have a question to you. Now, is there any loss in energy? The charges are flowing in a conductor. What happens to the potential energy? Will the potential energy initially how it was when before connecting, will it be same when you connected it? Did you get my question? Hello? No answer? Are you there? I'm asking you, is there
So
any
can you
energy
repeat that
loss?
question?
Muskan,
Yes, sir.
is there any energy loss in this process?
No, sir.
No. Why no? Why there is no energy loss? If you're telling no, what is the reason? If you're telling yes, what is the reason? Varun. Who is Varun 9?
Yes, sir, it's me.
Is there any energy loss?
Sir, I thought you were asking me that is there any doubt? That's why I told no.
Okay. Now I'm asking the question. Look at the derivation, you will understand that potential energy depends upon the potential. Here the potential is no longer be V1 and V2. We have a common potential. That means there is an energy loss. Why there is an energy loss? This wire is connected. When this wire is connected, the charges will flow from one conductor to another conductor. When they are flowing in a conductor, obviously current will produce. When the current will produce, the heat energy will be there. When it will be very minimum, but there is some heat energy. Whenever the current flows through a conductor, obviously it produces some heat. That means whenever charges flows through this conductor, that means some energy is lost. Okay, that energy is lost. You have to. I'm not going to derive that energy loss, how much energy will be lost, and all those things. Just I'm telling it. It's not there in your syllabus also. No need to worry about it. But you need to know that whenever charge flows through that conducting wire, we connected with a conducting wire. So it is flowing. When it is flowing, it will energy loss will be there. Okay.
So can you explain it once again?
What?
So can you explain it once again?
Yeah. What I am talking about, when we connect this conducting wire between these two capacitors, obviously we have a different potentials. So suppose V1 and V2 are different potentials. So the charges will start flow from higher potential to lower potential. When they're flowing with this conducting wire, you can see this conducting wire. Look at this conducting wire here. This is a conducting wire in which the charges will start flowing. When the charges are in a movement, that means there comes a current. So flow of charges is nothing but a current. When there were current flowing in this conducting wire, it produces a heat. That means initially they have some energy, but when that energy will be lost as a heat. So initial energy means when without connection, without they connected it. Final energy when they connected it. Obviously, final energy will be less than initial energy, because in this process of connecting, we lost some energy as in heat. Because the charges flows in the conducting wire, when they flows, they produces heat energy. Okay. You can find out the expression. Actually, I have an expression, but I am thinking it's not required. I have made on slide to do the derivation, but I feel now it's not required. Okay, we directly go to the derivation, numerical part of it. Because nowhere it will be asked for you in your exams, but you should know how the potential will change. I have taken this numerical. So this numerical is appeared so many times in the exams. Like it is appeared in 2009 and 2011 in the CBSE exam. Same question, no change in the. So look at here. I have an 800 PF capacitor. So is charged by an 100-volt battery. After some time, after charging that capacitor, after some time the battery is disconnected. We disconnect the battery, then the capacitor is then connected to another 800 PF capacitor. Then you need to find out what is the energy stored in this capacitor, or you can find out what is the energy, final energy, and what is the energy change, or you can find out common potential. I want one answer for this. What will be the electrostatic energy stored? What will be electrostatic energy stored? Okay, I just explained the problem. Look at here. Case one is I have one capacitor which is having 800 PF, and that is connected to a battery for charging. That is connected to a battery for charging. That battery is having 100 volt. Okay, then it is getting charged. What happens after some time? We disconnect this battery. After some time, what we are doing it? We disconnect the battery. That means 800 if it is there. We disconnect the battery, and in the battery place we connect another capacitor which is uncharged. It is not charged now, but it is having a capacitance of 100 pf. We connect like this. Now I need to find out what is the energy stored in this combination. How much energy stored in this combination? For this, I just explained this problem. I have one more problem like this. You can get in the next slide. I have one more problem. So here C1, I'll name this as C1 and I will name this as C2. Anyway, C1 is equal to C2 is equal to C, that is 800 pf. Both are having the same potential. So 800 CF means that is 8 into 10 to the power of minus 10 farad. V1, that means the potential at C1 is, that is given, that is 100 volt is given. Okay, it's nothing but what I have discussed in the previously, the same way. There both are charged and kept. Now both are not charged. One is charged, another is not charged. Now we are connecting the charged and uncharged with some connecting wires. That is the meaning of it. So V2 is, initially there is no potential difference across the another capacitor, that is C2. So which I have taken, which is not charged. The potential difference across is 0 because it is not charged. Uncharged capacitor will not have any potential difference. You don't have charge on them, that means there is no potential difference between them. Now we are connecting it. When we connect, the potential between them will change. That means the charges will start flowing from charged to an uncharged. The charges will start flowing it now. When the charges will start flowing it, charges will redistribute. From where to where charges will flow? Can you tell me from where to where charges will flow?
C1 to C2.
C1 to C2 charges will flow because higher potential to lower potential charges will flow until the potential across those capacitors becomes equal. That means what I am talking, V1 will become V2 at some time. Until that process, the charges will flow. Now I want to find out that what is that common potential between them. So for that, I use the formula total charge divided by total capacitance. How they are connected? This is connected in parallelly. So total capacitance is C1 plus C2. So total charge is Q1 plus Q2 divided by C1 plus C2. Q1 Q2 can be written as C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. C1 is 8 into 10 to the power of minus 10. V1 is 100 volt plus C2 is 8 into 10 to the power of minus 10. V2 is 0 because initially it is uncharged. Then 8 into 10 to the power of minus 10 plus 8 into 10 to the power of minus 10. So if you calculate, you will get this as 50 volt. You calculate, that is this will become 16 into 10 to the power of minus 10. So you can cancel. This will become 2 will be here. This 2 goes with this. 10 to the power of minus 10 will go with. So you will get the 50. So 50 volt is the common potential between them. So the common potential is 50 volt. This is what we call it as common potential. Now, meaning is when you connect them, the potential across both of them is now 50 volt. So both of them will have a 50 volt. Here also 50, here across this also 50. So since they are connected in parallelly, obviously it becomes 50. Now what is that energy stored? Now just now I calculated only the common potential because I required the common potential, because energy expression talks about U is equal to 1 by 2 C equivalent V square. Okay, that is an energy expression. This V is nothing but common potential. You should not use V2 into equivalent capacitor is nothing but C1 plus C2 because they are connected in parallelly, and V square. So you get an expression as 1 by 2 into C1 C2 is substitute, so that is 2 into 8 into 10 to the power of minus 10, because both are equal, and 50 square. So you get an energy as 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6 joules. You calculate and see. So this is an important concept which I feel. So I'm not explaining only the concept, I'm taking the numericals, very important. When you take up some numericals, when you understand the numericals, you will understand the more concept. Okay, I have one more numerical here, I will take up in the next class. It's already 1:10. So try to solve.